Hello and greetings from Arkansas. It is a rainy day in Arkansas. Today we're talking about the CAGED theory. It's an acronym, CAGED. What it means is that there are basically 5 shapes your hand can make to create any major chord you need. Another way to put it is when we make a major shape that we're familiar with, for example, the D shape, when I move that shape somewhere else, it yields a different major chord. That what once was a D chord is now lifted up higher to something else. The farther I go, the further away from the D major chord that shape my hand is making becomes. D would go up to E. E would go up to F. F would go up to G, and so forth. So, what are those shapes that we're talking about? CAGED. This theory, by the way, should be understood by people that have been playing for probably at least 5 years, playing consistently, and at least an upper teenager or older will really start to understand this stuff. So CAGED, C-A-G-E-D, it means we have 5 shapes that our hand makes, like a C major chord, an A major shape. The shape that my hand is making, again, can be taken somewhere else and it becomes a different chord. The CAGED system is the key to unlocking the guitar neck, particularly by bringing harmonic groups. So harmony means like 3 or more, or two or more notes that are played together. And so what's the other ones? Like we have a G shape. My hand is making the shape of a G. If I were to bar that sucker fully, and when all 6 strings are held, if I slid that somewhere else, that G shape becomes another chord. Now I will say the G shape in its full-on position to strum a big chord, we don't use it very much. Why? Well, look at that thing. It's kind of hard to make, right? There are other shapes in here between the CAGED that are more common and more practical, you could say. So CAG, we have an E major shape. The shape of my hand is making an E major shape. The most common way that we often use the E major shape is in like an F shape. Anytime, any kind of F chord that you might know different variations, but that F shape down here that we make in the open position, it comes from an E shape. So you might already be utilizing the CAGED system by using that E shape on an F chord. However you might frame the F chord. There's different ways that people do it. Another common way, using that same E shape, that people already use that E shape is by playing things like power chords. Right? When I make this power chord, I'm actually just utilizing what I know about E in the open position and sliding it up to something else. And then lastly, we have a D shape. My hand is making a D shape. Again, like I said earlier, when I slide that D shape up the neck, I get a totally different chord. So in a nutshell, that is the CAGED system. The CAGED system, as we're calling it, is really more of a level 3 concept. Again, which means you should have been playing for at least 5 years or more. So I'm gonna jump right in to how we utilize the CAGED system and ways that we can start to organize and simplify the system in our heads. And the way that it works for me is that I understand the bass note in which the chord is being built from. Meaning, when I make a G chord, I understand first that this is a G note. And that G note here on the 3rd fret is the bass note that builds the foundation for the rest of the chord. Bow, 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 bow. So at this point, it's important to have memorized a few notes. First, we should have memorized our open strings, E, A, D, G, B, E. Of course, if you've been playing for 5 or more years, should have that memorized. There's another 6 notes that you absolutely, 100% should memorize to where you can just know it. And those 6 notes are, trust me here, G on the 3rd fret top string, A note on the 5th fret top string, 7th fret is a B, G, A, B, G. What's after G in the musical alphabet also helps to understand how the musical alphabet works. The musical alphabet goes A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, like that. So G, what's after G, one full step up, which is 2 frets, we have A. What is 2 frets up from A? B. Okay? Next string, this is 3 more notes. C on the 3rd fret. It's the same place that we build a C chord from. I will never waste your time with things that are not practical and applicable for you right now to help you play better and more efficiently. Think about your C chord. That note there is a C note. I promise I'm building to something. C, 5th fret on the same string, D, and 7th fret, 2nd string is an E note. So we went G, A, B, C, D, E. G, A, B, C, D, E. 100% memorize those notes, okay? Now, let's start organizing this, okay? We're just gonna look at G for a second, all right? This top note here, again, is a G note. There's another chord shape that can be built from what you could call a G shape on the same fret. You could say the E shape and the G shape are connected on the top string. What do I mean by that? If I build my E shape on that 3rd fret, I'm also building a G chord. So the E shape and the G shape are connected to each other by the top string. You hear that? It's really coming down in Arkansas. G shape, E shape playing a G chord. E major just got lifted up from E, F, F sharp to G, 3rd fret. Let's continue applying this shape, the E shape, up to those other notes we just talked about having memorized, 100% memorized. G chord, A chord, 5th fret. E shape, A chord. That's an A note. We memorized it, A note. I'm building a chord off of that A note. Now I'm yielding an A chord. Am I blowing your mind yet? If I go up one more step to that note that we memorized, that's a B note. When I build that E shape there on that B note, I get a B chord. To look back at that G shape one more time, again, I said earlier the G shape isn't used very much, but just to at least see it in your mind's eye, you could say, I'm building a G shape off of that B note, and what's coming out is a B chord. So I'm barring here. If I capoed right there on that 4th fret and I played that G shape, that's kind of what I'm building right here. I'm barring it, right? Making my capo, and I'm making a G shape here. Hear it? Same chord. Same chord, okay? That can apply back on A. See? You hear it? A chord. All right? Now, a lot of this is really just kind of like having those light bulb moments where you go, ah, okay. So maybe not everything is gonna sink in right now. However, my goal is to like just open your eyes a little bit to the guitar neck, okay? I'm gonna make a series of chords, but that is a good introduction to the CAGED system. Be sure and follow me on this journey, but first you have to do a few things. Don't go too fast through these videos. You're gonna get overwhelmed and frustrated. Take time to Memorize those 6 notes. G, A, B, C, D, E. If you already got those memorized, maybe practice playing that E shape. How do we do it? I drop the wrist, and my thumb is clamped behind my fingers in this case, nice and straight, particularly the thumb, because my wrist is dropped. I'm not squeezing with my palm up. My palm is down, wrist is down, which what that does is it makes this index finger straight. If you're bending at this knuckle right here with your index finger, it's not right. That means you're squeezing, you're squeezing tight. It's not right. Drop the wrist, that'll straighten the index finger, and the other ones are gonna be real round. If you haven't done this shape a lot, it is not easy. You have to spend a lot of time doing it. So before you watch the next video, memorize those 6 notes and maybe practice with that note knowledge that you have, playing a G chord, an A chord, and a B chord. And then maybe have a little fun, maybe building like the D shape. This is just a little extra. And take that up. Just kind of think about how you're going to be using that D shape up the neck. My name is Jacob Paul with Inside Out Online. And that was an introduction to the CAGED system. I'm going to see you on video 2 for the CAGED system.